Hey everyone, thank you for joining. In the third part of the series, we'll be talking about security administrators team who manage information security tools and they are responsible for maintaining, troubleshooting, ensuring the best of configuration of these tools. So it balances both business and security. Let's deep dive into this one. So, um, just like I showcased you tool sets of SOC team in the previous video, we'll be talking a little bit more on the similar lines. So one of the team or one of the sub team of this team security admins is endpoint security, who are usually responsible for maintaining tools which are installed on the endpoint side, um, like EDR, AV, XDR. These days, some of these newer products are called. They are responsible for ensuring that the tool is installed on necessary devices. It's there in the pipeline from start to end. Like if for example, if I am a new employee of the company, the agent should be present on my system on the day one. It should not be like after installed after 2 days or 5 days or something like that. So they are responsible for ensuring that agent is present on all endpoints, which is as per the scope of the project, as well as they're all healthy states. Okay, when I say healthy, I mean to say, um, like they should be upgraded on timely basis. For example, if a new version has been released, it's stable, it has been tested, your endpoint security team will be responsible for updating those agents from version 1 to version 1.1, or so on and so forth. So yeah, um, so they usually cover EDR, AV, and XDR related tools. um, there can be more. I will not name everything, but yeah, that's usually like their work is around. They are again can be first party, managed by the company, dedicated employees who are fix solving this problem, or they can be third party, outsourced to someone else, or it can be a mix of both. L1, um, like internal, like L1 team, which can be responsible for taking care of small stuff, you know regular chores and stuff like that. And then there can be L2 team who troubleshoot bigger problems, bigger issues, who set up the pathway, who act as the leads in the team. They're usually 8 into 5, regular working hours models. um, but if in case there's an issue going on, they might be extending as well. Let's move to the next one, the network security team. Security team is also like they are similarly same. They are like similarly similar to as above, but they don't care about, like they don't their job is to work on network side of tools. Okay. For example, they might be configuring and monitoring an IDS IPS. When I say monitor, I mean to say health wise, not alert wise. um, they might be monitoring, they might be configuring a deep packet inspection tool. They can be reviewing firewalls, firewall logs, firewall configuration policies on the firewall, other stuff like that. They might be also responsible for handling web application firewall, which can be internet facing, internal facing, depending on the application that's deployed against, and the email solution. So these are all like network tools where there's nothing installed on the endpoint, but the data flows through them. So we want to ensure that these tools are configured securely. So there is another line of defense. The first line is endpoint security, obviously, but the next line of defense, the network security, is also there. They can be again first party, third party, or mix of both, just like I said above. And usually, like they are on like they are like business operations team, work as like a business, nothing like 24/7. But yeah, again, if there's an issue, they have to be on call as well.
Moving on, the next sub team of security administrators will be identity security. They are like obviously focused on identity tools. When I say that, that means SSO, MFA, PIM, Active Directory, and stuff like that. So they might not be operating these tools, but they will be expert in these. These tools are like usually shared between IT and InfoSec, um, and so they will be usually be expert in this, ensuring that compliance is met, ensure there are no they are running on optimal configuration. Everyone is um, running as per the best practices. So it can be again mix or it can be again first party depending on the company's view or the team's view. Uh, so yeah, next one, SIM admins. If you remember from the last video, I talked about SIM very briefly. So SIM is a tool which entire SOC depends on. Um, so definitely it has to the infra of the SIM tool itself has to manage. Right, there will be so many servers who are parsing terabytes of data, and they have to there's a perspective of storing this data, how long it has to be stored, where it has to be stored, how long the data is searchable, and then where is the backup stored. So lot of aspects of it, including the software that's running, software version is running, the nodes that they are running, and stuff like that. So SIM actually requires their own administrators who are just maintaining the infrastructure. That's all. So when it's so infrastructure maintenance is one part, logging, bringing new log sources into the picture, into the SIM for security monitoring is also one part. So these two things are taken care by SIM admins, and the monitoring obviously through the SIM, writing detection, writing other stuff, correlation search and stuff like that. That's usually done by SOC. So that's how like the SIM admins are, SIM responsibilities are split between these two teams. Uh, it's usually not there that SIM admin is a separate team as compared to SOC team. So usually SOC team, there are a couple of folks who actually take care of SIM as well, who are dedicated, who are SMEs for SIM itself, whatever regardless of the tool that is there. But yeah, for a mature team, the SIM admins are always separate, and this can be again first party and a mix of both. And lastly, obviously, we have to respect the newest domain in the security now, the cloud security. So cloud security related, services, cloud security related logging, where the logs are being forwarded from, how they're monitored, and all this stuff. So cloud infrastructure separately has to monitor by someone, a dedicated team, because there can be multiple cloud accounts that are being operated by the company that are running and are under the same org. uh, there can be segregation, like each application teams will have their own cloud accounts. Now under that also there will be dev account, uh, gamma account, prod account, pre-prod, and all that other stuff. So all those accounts has to follow certain security practices. Their log has to be forwarded to SIM for monitoring by SOG and other stuff like that. So those all things are taken care by cloud security administrators. Again, this can be first party or third party. Usually, it's the first party. But if you don't want to bring up the expert knowledge required uh, for cloud into your own company and you want to outsource it, then it's a third party or mix of both can be uh, taken care. So moving on, the if you remember briefly, uh, like what things we talked about in the last video, we little spoke about like the tool sets that are usually monitored by SOC that include endpoint, network, entity, cloud, uh, and obviously threat intel, SIEM, and so. So when I say that, so respective security administrators teams will be monitoring certain of these tools or certain are responsible for maintenance or managing of these tools. Um, Usually, AV and email, I've highlighted it separately, are managed by IT teams, dedicated folks who are part of IT infrastructure team. They will be managing it. Similarly, Anton, continuing on that AV and email one. So those will be managed by IT infra team, but the policy configuration on their side, like how while the email gateway is configured to handle security practices, whether SPS is enabled, DCAM is enabled, DMARC is enabled, what's the risk score, how many are the URLs being analyzed, is sandboxing being done, is auto mail pulling is being done. So all this configuration has to be reviewed periodically. You don't want to miss out the new features and stuff like that. Uh, so tools like these, which are managed by IT, are usually audited, or they have a you can say read-only administrator access to these tools. And then there are other tools who are not even managed by security at all, like endpoint management tool. That's usually an IT tool. Firewall, that's a new network tool. Endpoint discovery tool, that means like a scanner kind of thing. That's again managed by some other team. Maybe network team again itself to scan and discover IP addresses that are there in the network. Similarly, Active Directory is again managed by IT team. There might be certain guys in security admin team, specifically the entity team. They might be expert in Active Directory, who knows what's the best configuration of Active Directories. Are there any vulnerabilities, problems, misconfigurations in the existing Active Directory setup, overly permissive, and other stuff like that. Similarly, SSO, document repositories, those are usually IT managed tools, but in entity sub team itself, they will have certain expertise on that. Similarly, cloud apps, when we say, so if there's a developer team uh, who has an application running on the cloud, they will be ensuring that the log is forwarded to certain service from which the SOC team can consume it. So it's not usually the responsibility of cloud security admin team to do that, but ensuring that pipeline is built where app team can forward the data for software to monitor. That is always there. That's maintained. Uh, so those are like security administrators maintenance tool set. Similarly, they're also managing SIM, what I talked earlier in the video, as well as SOAR. Now SOAR also they will be managing the infrastructure side, ensuring that enough nodes are there, it's scalable. It's not like high CPU consumption, process memory, and all the other from the infrastructure point of view. That the SOAR as a service is running properly. However, on top of it, the playbooks, the content development, and everything else will be taken care by usually it's a security analyst team or SOC team, sub team under SOC team. Uh, so that's how like the tool set scenario looks like for the security analyst team. Um, let's go to the next slide. So whatever we have learned so far in InfoSec overall, right? Um, so you have learned about SOC, you learned about SIM, you learned about security administration, but how does these connect, right? So you want to have so when I say SOC, that doesn't mean like using response and other sub teams, but when I mean like uh, I'm just giving a couple of examples that okay, how does SOC connects back to the security administration, or overall in the InfoSec hierarchy, how does these two things operate together? So incident response, SOC, security analyst, they if there's an incident going on, they might reach out back to security admin team that hey, we need to block this, we need to rotate this credential, we need to block this IP, we need to contain this endpoint. We might have to increase the policy and stuff like that, or we will create a separate policy for these sort of endpoints, cloud, and other stuff like that. So there can be a requirement of that, or there can be a requirement from threat hunting team that hey, or again security analyst that hey, we are seeing these logging apps in our environment. Maybe one of the application is not sending logs to SIA. So and during an incident, so identified that as a part of lessons learned, and then SOC team or threat hunting team, sub team of it when they are hunting, looking for problems before they come with the problem. They might highlight these as a gap back to security that admins team that hey, bring this into our SIM, bring this into our visibility and logging, so we can create detections out of it. So that's how like security administrators team and SOC team connects with each other. And so that wraps up security admin part of the video. In the next video, I'll be talking about security architecture engineering team. These are the folks who bring in new tools for SOC and InfoSec in general. So the monitoring side, the visibility side, the logging side, everything. The all the infosec, uh, what you can say, infosec bar gets raised to the next level to improve the security on regular basis. So, uh, that's all for this video.